I hope we are recording. Yes, Madhuri is recording.
So today that topic that I'll be talking on is going to be Satto Vrtteh. First, I'll just recite the text. It's text 3 from NOI. उत्साह निश्चय धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संग त्यागात् सतो वृते सद्भीर भक्ति प्रसिद्ध्यति. So this is the sixth step that we need to follow to get a success in complete devotional service. So if you see the translation, it says following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So we'll try and understand what exactly Sattvavriti is. So it, as it is mentioned before, it is following footsteps of previous acharyas. If you go into definition part of it, it will be adopting good, exalted behavior and character of a pure devotee. So if we even try to explain it in a very, very simple language as what I did right now, it will be actually how we can learn good habits, which is a very easy way of teaching even to kids. So, if we start with it, first thing that I learned from the lecture reference was from Radhesham Prabhu. What I learned, he specified this many times, saying that we are toddlers. So, obviously, not by age. What he meant was we are toddlers in this devotional service, in this spiritual life. We are here to learn and we are still learning. There is a lot more to learn ahead. So Satto, if you see the word Satto Vritti, so Satto is sadhu or devotee or a saintly person. And then Vritti is propensity and lifestyle. So what is propensity? It is swabhav. What kind of swabhav? We have different kind of swabhav with every people, right? Some person is very easily angered. Some people are very encouraging, happy. So this is swabhav. And lifestyle is basically the occupation that is provided to us by Krishna, which we all know about. It's Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So now here we are going to try and understand, we are going to learn what good exalted behavior here we can learn from the pure devotees. So to begin with this thing, first I would like to talk about a shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is from Canto 11, chapter 25th. And the text that I'm referring to, it's 34 and 35. So it's Rajas Tamas Chabhi Jayet Sattva Samseya Muniha Sattvam Chabhi Jayet Yukto Nerapekshena Shantadhi. So I'll just go ahead with what Prabhu said, Radhesham Prabhu. It was, he should conquer the mode of passion and ignorance by engaging himself only in the things in the mode of goodness. Then, being fixed in devotional service, the sage should also conquer the material mode of goodness by indifference towards the mode. So, what this exactly is, this entire thing is what we will be discussing henceforth in the lecture that I have prepared. The more we fill up our days with mode of goodness. So when we say mode of goodness, it is like reading what? Vedas. So here specifically, Prabhu was talking about not reading mundane um, magazines or novels by random writers. So reading Vedas, praying, teaching about Krishna, along with devotional service. Then we will transcend to goodness also, like we'll transcend goodness also, and then only you can become a pure devotee. So here the whole point is that we have to keep ourselves away from rajas and tamogun. No rajogun and tamogun should be affecting us too much so that our satogun will come down. So here it is very important that we take care of our activities that we just discussed. That is reading Vedas, praying, teaching about Krishna. Then we should also take care of time. So time is obviously, it's in the morning time, which is the Sattva Gurun time, the place. So Prabhupada always used to mention, so place, suburbs are always the fields, countryside is always a Sattva Gun place. It's a very Sattva Gun place. It has a mode of goodness in it, and cities are always made in passion. So they have mode of passion because cities are made by humans, and forests and villages are made by Lord. This is why. So here, Narad Muni was speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj once, and it is in Srimad Bhagavatam. We have discussed Canto 7, chapter 11, 8, and 12. There he was talking to Yudhishthira Maharaj about the general propensities in the mode of goodness. And it is also described in Bhaktya Loka. So there are 30 points that I would like to point out, which I'll be discussing about, that if we try and follow, we can maintain the mode of goodness in our life. So we'll start with the first one. The first one is Satya. It's very easy to understand with the word itself. Satya is speaking truth without distortion or deviation. So why do people even lie? That was the first question that came up. People generally lie to boast themselves for what they are not, and take credit for something that they have not done. So this is why people lie, and lies generally have that anxiety every time that the truth might come out. So this first one was Satya, and the second is Daya. Daya is sympathy to everyone suffering. When you say Daya to everyone, it means everybody is included, devotees, non-devotees, everybody. A Vaishnava is a person who's par dukha dukhi. Nowadays, generally it is par dukha sukhi, but a true Vaishnava will be par dukha dukhi. So having sympathy towards them. Then the third point is tapa, austerities. Chanting more on Ekadashi can be austerity for us. Fasting on Ekadashi and other festivals is an austerity. Also, rising up early in the morning for chanting is a kind of austerity. So this is the third point. And then fourth is Socha. Socha is cleanliness. Cleanliness is basically external and internal. External is you should have a bath at least twice a day, and internal cleanliness will only come if you chant the holy name. So fifth is titiksha. Titiksha is tolerance. So we have to be very tolerant. If you see, as per our generations are going ahead, you will see I have less tolerance as compared to what my mother had. My child is going to definitely have less tolerance as compared to what I have. So, but we have to be very tolerant. This is our learning. Amrish Maharaj was so tolerant towards Durvasa Muni's anger. Prahlad Maharaj was so tolerant for his father, for all that he would do to him. Pandavas were very tolerant for Kauravas and all their atrocities that they would do. So tolerance is something that we need to learn and inculcate in ourselves. Point six is iksa, which is distinguish between right and wrong. We have to understand what is right and wrong. I mean, you cannot support somebody just because he or she is your friend, family member, anything, for what they're doing is wrong. So there you have to be able to, you should have that ability in you to distinguish that. Sama is control of mind. So basically, not acting in greed, anger, lust, restrain the mind. So you're going to get only this much prasada today, control your mind. So this is what controlling your mind would be. Dama is just like Sama, it's control senses though. This is very difficult. It's very easier said to control your senses, but it is a very difficult task to do. For example, we all know the story of Ajamil. He, because of his senses, he was actually fallen. Vishwamitra heard Menka's anklets ear. That is how there was a problem. So all our five senses, there, all of them are actually weak. If you see, elephant has a weakness to the touch of skin. Then a fish will have weakness to tongue. The moth has weakness to the senses of eyes. He will see a fire, get into it, get roasted. Then the honeybee has the weakness of nose, and similarly, the deer has a weakness with the senses of ears. So we have to have control on our senses very thoroughly, which is actually very easily said. There are four defects we might have discussed before also in human beings, and one of them is imperfect senses. So it is very necessary for us to have a control over them. Ninth point would be ahimsa, that is non-violence. So basically, non-violence, both physical and verbal, should be avoided. Um, it was said that by Krishna himself once to Arjuna that word can be more dreadful than your weapons. So the words can actually kill person. So you should be very non-violent in both the senses, physical and verbal. 10th is brahmacharya. So when you say brahmacharya, we understand the person should not have illicit sex when he is in the brahmacharya stage. But it is also, you don't misuse the semen, you don't get into relationship with anybody's wife when you are in brahmacharya or anybody else also, because it is very clearly stated and it is said by many prabhus recently that I had been hearing in lectures, was loss of semen actually gives you loss of your vivek buddhi. You are not able to distinguish between good or bad. We just discussed that we need to have that in us. Iksa is distinguished between right and wrong. So you lose that vivek buddhi when you have unnecessary loss of semen, and you also cannot remember your scriptural knowledge because of it. So that is also very important. Then 11th is tyag, giving charity from your income. It is very, very important. Whenever we get money, income, the first thing should be kept aside is for charity. That is necessary. Then swadhyaya, reading scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayan, Mahabharat, Upanishad, all these things will get under swadhyaya. Saralta. Saralta is also very easy to understand because of the word saralta is simplicity. Simplicity should also be there in our mind about how we think, just not how we live. Santosh, again, easy to understand. All these things, though they're easy to understand, they're very difficult to inculcate. It's always easier said. Santosh, being satisfied with whatever you have. So basically, no collecting money, like just going beyond your capability and working. We had discussed about prayas and atyahar before. So Santosh is an example from there. Then 15 is Samadarshi Janera Sheva, rendering services to the Uttamadhikari. So now who is an Uttamadhikari over here? We all know that there is Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari. Uttamadhikari is a person who is seeing everybody in the spirit of Krishna. He believes everybody is a part and parcel of Krishna. So I recently learned that from an example from Ishopanishad where it was stated that Uttamadhikari will see no difference between a Brahman and between a dog. Now this is like, what are you saying? How can there be no difference between Brahman and dog? But he sees them to their soul. The Brahman soul did not misuse the little freedom that was given to him in his previous birth. And the dog's soul actually misused the freedom that he was given in his previous birth. And this is why he's encaged in the body of a dog. So that's how Uttamadhikaris are. They see everybody in the spirit of Krishna, Supreme Lord, and they see everybody equal and try to do good for them. So that is Uttamadhikari. So basically, we are talking about rendering services to them. 16th is Gramya Cheshta Haitya Nivritti. No taking part in so-called philanthropic activities. Basically, no taking part in any kind of materialistic activity. So, yeah, nowadays, it is very popular in India also. Come home, we have Diwali puja at home. Very nice. You go there, and there are people who are playing cards on one side. Then there are people who are drinking on the other side. So these kind of materialistic activities are what we have to stay away from. Similarly, sort of same explanation will go for Viparyayeksha, distinguishing between unnecessary activities. So again, any activity that is not helping you to develop in Krishna consciousness, any activity that is opposing your Krishna consciousness, would be under this category. Basic, so say going for a movie or party or for discourse or reading mundane novels, books which are actually not going to give you anything but just waste your time. All these things will fall under this category. Then 18th is Urthalapa Nivritti. That is Monam. Monam is Mon Vrat. So it was very nicely explained by Prabhu. He said, being grave and silent. Now, that does not mean that you should have, like, you should just have a frowning face all the time. That is not how devotees look. Devotees are very, very calm and very happy looking people. Because when they talk about Krishna, they talk about his Leelas, they talk about how they can enhance their devotional service. So, being grave and silent means not talking unnecessarily. And grave does not mean you have to have a frowning face. It's just being grave in your behavior. 19th is Atma Vimarshana, research about soul. Basically, you have to realize what is self realization. We have to understand the difference between the body and soul. We have to understand we are the soul and not this body. This body is a temporary thing that is given to us by the Supreme Personality, and we are just supposed to take care of this body so that we can do our devotional service, not for our sense gratification. So basically, we are on rent. Nothing belongs to us in this world, not even the body. Number 20 is Anadhira Vibhaga, distribution of food. Distribution of food does not mean that I will go to a shop, get 10 kgs of atta chawal and distribute it among people. No, this is not what it is means. Here it means giving prasadam to people, whoever, rich or poor. Generally, rich people are also poor devotional in their devotional life. So we should be giving prasadam to everybody. Rich, poor, educated, uneducated, does not matter. Then 21st one is Shakala Loke Bhagavad Samdhana Buddhi. So it means accepting all living entities as related to the Lord, just like how Uttamadhikari does, right? This whole world is Krishna's family and we are a part of it. Unnecessary discrimination is not what is expected over here. And then from 22 to 30 are the 9 processes of the devotion. Shravanam is hearing. So if we give examples of this as along we go ahead, for Shravanam hearing, it will be Maharaj Parikshit who heard the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Then it was Kirtanam, just glorifying the Lord. Sukdev Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, attained the perfection. Then by praying to Lord, Akrura attained the desired results. Then by remembering Lord, Prahlad Maharaj. By worshipping the Lord, Prithu Maharaj attained perfection. By serving the lotus feet of the Lord, the goddess of fortune Lakshmi attained perfection. By rendering personal service to the Lord, Hanuman. Through his friendship with the Lord, Arjuna attained the desired result. And by surrendering everything he had to the Lord, it was Maharaj Bali who attained the perfection. So these 9 processes with 21 plus 9 makes it 30. So we spoke about all these 30 things that we should be doing just so that we can elevate the mode of goodness in our life and put down the mode of passion and mode of ignorance. Now, what will happen when you are in this way? So when a person is completely surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord and doing his devotional services and his responsibilities, he gets into the mode of goodness, and even the passion and ignorance stops working against him. And at that stage, he is at the nirguna stage. Nirguna stage is like akarma, where you don't get any reactions for your actions, like akarma, karma, akarma, vikarma. So we go into akarma stage, that is nirguna stage. So along with all these 30 things, Prabhu was also telling that we should write it down on a paper and put it in our room so that we look at it every day and keep a check on ourselves whether we are able to follow them or not. So That is something I think we can do. Then, along with these, uh, there was also talk about how devotional services should be attached to it. Having only these gunas, having your goodness, a mode of goodness high, and not doing the devotional service is not going to take you anywhere. So, devotional service is a very important part of it. Now, to do proper devotional service, we will need help. Help of what? Mind and body. It is very necessary to have a sound mind. So, I lately learned about, again from Ishopanishad, I learned how this world is described as an ocean. It is an ocean of miseries. And this body that we have, it's the boat. And the acharyas and our Vedas, scriptures, they are the expert boatmen who can help us to get out of this ocean of miseries. And the facility of these bodies, that is sound mind, healthy body, this is the breeze, a favorable breeze that will help you to go in a right direction. So when you say that for devotional service you need to take care of your mind and body, yes, it is very true, because unless you don't get help from both of these aspects, getting ahead in devotional service is going to be very, very difficult. So initially, if you remember, we spoke that vritti is swabhav and lifestyle. And lifestyle, I said, was occupation. Occupations that were given to us by Krishna. So, what occupations are we talking about? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So, first we will learn about the stages of life according to those. So, brahmachari is what we're going to learn about. So, what are the do's for a brahmachari's life so that the satogun in his life can be on the highest level? So, to be celibate and live a very, very simple life, free from the sense pleasures and material pleasures. And second, to serve the Guru and collect alms for him, to hear and study the Vedas, to develop humility, discipline, simplicity, purity of thoughts, cleanliness, and soft heartedness. These all points, if you see, are from the 30 points that we just discussed. Then we'll talk about a little bit about the grihastha life, household life. So, what are their responsibilities? They have to make money and enjoy, it's written in capital, according to scriptural injunctions only, to protect and nourish family members, wife, and children, to teach children about spiritual values, and to give charity, to give in charity, and specially to feed holy people, poor, and animals. I will be elaborating a little more on the Grihastha life because it was so stated in Bhaktya Loka also. And also, most of us in this group who are talking right now, we are all in Grihastha life. So it can be quite helpful. And the third stage I'm talking about is Vanaprastha. So Vanaprastha is like after you have your children, you leave. How just going to talk it in a very simple language. Vanaprastha is basically you leave your children after they are settled and you retire from whatever household responsibilities you had. And then you are connected, you are not supposed to be connected to any kind of sense gratification. Here, Prabhu was mentioning that a person should go away with his wife, not for sense or physical gratification, but they should be devoting themselves in the services of the Lord. So, Vanaprast literally means forest dwellers, to generally devote more time to spiritual matters like listening to Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, to engage in austerities and penances in devotional services, to go on pilgrimage and stay and serve at ISKCON. And then the last stage, sannyasa, it's a renounced life. So here you need to have a complete control over your mind and your senses. And the most important thing that Prabhu kept on stressing was you have to teach and preach. It's very necessary. There are many people who need teaching so that they can actually follow all these ashrams properly. So that is one of their very big responsibility for sannyasis. So if all the varnas, like if we follow all the varnas properly, But if we are not worshipping the Lord Vishnu, then what is going to happen? We are going to become very proud and ignorant that I can follow I can follow Vanprast. I have taken sannyas. But the whole point over here is after you do all these things, you keep Krishna in center. When you are not keeping Krishna in center, you become very ignorant. You're very proud of yourself. This is actually mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, chapter 5th, and it's in the text 2nd and 3rd. Satto Vritti basically means to cultivate Sato Gun, and we already spoke about the 30 points how we can help to improve those positive points, the goodness among us. So once there will be a little bit story that I'll be trying to say. Please forgive me if I'm not mm, very thorough in explaining you this thing. I'll try my very best. Ramananda once said, Ramananda was a person who was having a discussion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he once told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Varnashram Sarvashreshta. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, well, it's not true. It is only to follow, Varnashram is there to only follow the rules and regulations externally. So we have to give a higher conclusion to this. We must become a devotee to treat us internally too. We don't have to do things externally just so that we have name and fame in the society. This is a rule book given to us. But with that, if you don't have devotional service in your life, it's not going to help us. Varnashram should be followed and must be maintained under full control of bhakti. This sentence I actually got from Bhaktiyaloka, where this story was being discussed. Mostly, once you reach the goal, whatever goal you have set in your life, you generally forget bhakti. And especially at the time of death, there is no bhakti that comes to your mind. But Krishna says, again, I read it from Sri Upanishad, that he will never let any of his devotees perish. It means if you give devotional services to him, you might forget him at the time of your death, but he will never forget you. And he will never let you forget. He will give you that remembrance at that time. So it is very necessary, again, I'm saying the same point, that devotional service must be uh, should walk parallel with varnashram that we follow. Then yeah, what is proper occupation? This was really good point. So like, how do we get occupations? How Krishna has given us Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. How do we get proper occupations? So A, it is never by birth. It is always according to how your nature is. Srila Narottam Das Thakur once said, has always said, I will be attached to the path chalked out by the previous and later Mahajans. So when he says previous and later, it means before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you have to follow the path that is chalked out by them. So there are some points. There was once a conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Vasudeva Datta. Vasudeva Datta is a devotee, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotee, who came to Mahaprabhu leaving everything behind. He was married. And then what conversation they had on that, there are some points that we picked up and that I'll try and explain it to you. So in Grihastha, anybody who is in Grihastha needs a family and have kids. They are the kids. The kids are the servant of the Lord. So it is the Grihastha's responsibility to take care of those servants of the Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also mentioned it, and it is also there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 15, and shlok number 93, 94, 95, and 96. That's where we are getting all these points from what I'm going to speak henceforth. That it is very necessary for a grihastha to save money. Why? Not for having sense gratification or for going out in the mall and spending money. It is just for keeping the house in a proper condition. So Vasudev Datta, he Prabhu Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was talking and he was telling, you need help. You need to start saving money. You have a family. So that's where he spoke about how saving is important for a grihastha life. Similarly, education is important for a grihastha life. So education is not a material education or mundane education that we are talking. He said one should be educated, but not atheistic literature. Education should be Krishna conscious and not mundane. Because what happens is the mundane education is going to make you have a lot of pride in yourself. I am so and so doctor. I am so and so engineer. There is a lot of pride that comes in your mind. And when you meet Vaishnavs, you end up making aparad because of that. So Vaishnav aparad can be can happen very easily because of pride and because of your mundane education. So you should be very cautious about that. And then also in Chaitanya Bhagavata, Adi 14.21 and 26, it was specifically mentioned about how grihasthas should be also serving their guests. Guests, as in no party guests, we are talking about. We are talking about devotees over here. So, and their serving should always be according to their position. There are some people, some grihasthas who are very well to do, and some grihastha not so very well to do. But that should not affect your serving propensity, and also does not mean you should go out of your way. Just do as per whatever your position is. But serving is one of the very important part, the responsibility that a grihastha has in the society. Then it is Grihastha's responsibility also to have Harinam Sankirtan or Katha, or and then you have to feed prasadam to all the devotees who come to your place. So this all goes in their serving habits. Then on the serving, there is one thing that I read. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would feast or take prasad only at the Grihastha's house who would chant Laksha. So Laksha was 100,000 names of Lord every day. So we are in a, like we are, I think Prabhupada is really, really merciful that he gave us to chant 16 rounds. I still have 4 rounds to chant today though. On the basis of this, it is further stated that Grihastha should feed devotees, but not call too many devotees at once also, because sometimes people end up doing that. They call more and more Vaishnavas at their place. Why they are saying you should not call so many? This is actually said by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why you should not call too many Vaishnavas at your place and serve them? Because then you're not able to serve them properly, which you end up doing a Vaishnav Aprada, but the Vaishnavas are very kind. They will never tell you anything, but you end up doing a Vaishnav Aprada. Also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had pointed out this thing, why people call so many people together at their place, because they want to show off, because they have that false ego in them. Oh, your house only 2 Vaishnavas came, in my house there were 20. So that is like a pride. So that should not be done. That was written in Bhakti Aloka. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said that there should be a balance in a householder's life. So when you say balance, you should not be extreme on either side. So one side that was explained was a husband um, revolving around his family only. So the center of his life, instead of being Krishna, is his family, daughter, son, mummy, daddy, wife. Prabhu was also saying that they make the wife as the deity and they worship them. So that's too extreme. You should not be doing that. And the other extreme, they said, was you pretend that you are not paying attention to your parents or your family. So this pretension should also be not there. You should be in between. A devotee will never ever shy away from the responsibility. So if you have taken a responsibility of a grihastha, you might as well do it. And when you do it properly. Now, that also does not mean that because I have the responsibilities, I have to take care of my house. does not mean you become dakat. You have to always do things in a legal way. And also, we have already discussed the don'ts. This is why this is the last thing. There should be no prajalpa, there should not be atyahara, there should not be prayas. It should be done in a very simple manner. So again, in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22.37, this is there in the purport, is what I'm going to read now. A Vaishnava should always avoid the association of ordinary people. Common people are very much materially attached, especially to women. Vaishnava should also avoid the company of a non devotee of Krishna. A Grihastha Vaishnava should accumulate wealth only for his maintenance. He should not accumulate wealth by sinful means. So basically, whatever I was trying to say is very nicely cohesively put into this paragraph. When I was talking about saving money, education, serving the guests, and not being extreme and being responsible, and having your money's wealth accumulated in a very legal way. All of this is very precisely specified in this paragraph, which was from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And yeah, that's how I am going to end this. That's all what I could find. Everything that I found was from Prabhu's lecture, Radhesham Prabhu's lecture, and the PDF that Deepika Mataji shared with us, Bhakti Aloka. So kind of a thank you. That's where I could get all my content from. Hare Krishna.
Rounds. Because actually, if you chant 64 rounds, then that will be equal to 1 lakh holy names. So Lord Chaitanya said, I will come to the house of Lakheshwar. Lakheshwar means one who chants 1 lakh names of Ishwar. Such person. So to become Lakheshwar, you have to chant 1 lakh rounds. So 64, 1 lakh times holy names. So that is 64 rounds. So Prabhupada asked everybody to do that. But then the disciples, they were feeling is very difficult. So then Prabhupada said, uh, brought it down to 32. Said, okay, do 32. Then also their faces were down. It's not much possibility. So then Prabhupada said, 16 rounds, no less than that. And elsewhere, Prabhupada also writes and tells that in places like Vrindavan, many people do 64, 128 rounds. So it is very common. But here we can understand in Western world, things are very different and there are a lot of services. So therefore we have made it 16 rounds. And honestly speaking, that is very, very balanced. Because if somebody says, no, I will chant 64 rounds, he may be able to do it, she may be able to do it, but then how much time they will be able to spend in doing quality chanting out of that 64 rounds, and along with that take care of their daily profession, daily family and everything. Not many people can do that, so it is very, very balanced.
One more point that I actually forgot to say. Can I just put it on?
Yes.
So here I was actually talking about proper occupation, where I was not able to explain it very nicely because I was not able to focus on what is written on my book. So it actually said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told this thing to a grihastha, and it is also there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, again 15 chapter 26 and 27 shlok, that there is no meaning to a life if you're going to stay home without a wife. Why did he say that? So there are many people who are not able to follow the brahmachari, so vrata, that they have to go to the temple and stay there. They are not able to do that. They prefer staying home. So that is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that if you're going to stay home with your parents, you have to be in a grihastha life. And Radhesham Prabhu was also telling why is there, like, some people say, why I cannot take the responsibility of a wife and then all the expenses that will follow her kids and everything. So I will stay home, but I will not be married. So it is said it is very important to have a wife in your life because she will keep you on track. When they say, once this question was asked by Rakshita Mataji, why our wife always said like they're so bad, don't be so much attached to them. So that's when I actually thought that I want to mention this point in the lecture, that it is very important to have a wife in the sense that she will keep you in a track. Is like men generally have the propensity of deviating from their track behind a women or going out of their devotional service. But a woman, his wife, will always keep a check on him. Whom is he talking to? Or where is he spending most of his time? Did he complete his 16 rounds today or no? So this is why having a wife actually gives you a center which holds the household properly. When we say center, that doesn't mean the wife has to be center of the house. It's always Lord Krishna, but she's the one who keeps track of everybody performing their responsibilities properly. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Great. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing.